Hello, guys. Welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. I'm so glad that you've joined me today because we're going to be looking at my top five monitoring and evaluation books. Okay. Now, there's something I want to tell you guys. If you want to become an expert in M&E, you really need to do a lot of reading. And that's something I've learned in the past 10 years. Reading is enriching, it sharpens your skills, it sharpens your knowledge base. And I would really encourage you to read the books that I'm going to present to you. And one thing I can tell you guys, these books I'm presenting to you are totally free. You go on the internet, search for them in Google, you can access them today right away. Okay, so for those of you who are here for the very first time, my name is Coach Alexander. I've been doing this for 10 years now. I believe that I'm the best professional in M&E, okay? But of course, that's subject to debate because best can be relative. But I like to do things in a simple way. A lot of people have come to me asking questions, and I've been helping so many people out there. So I'm so glad for the support and for the love that you've given me. And I love you all if you can hear me right now. Okay, so now let's get straight to business. What are my top five books that I believe you should be reading right now? First on the list is the Monitoring and Evaluation Beginner's Guide 2020. Okay, now this book I actually wrote it myself. It's a very good book. Why do I say so? For beginners, okay, those who are really just starting out, who are just beginning their journey, they can actually read through this book and derive the maximum benefit from it. It explains a lot of concepts. Let me just give you a preview of actually what I'm going to be doing for each of the books that I show you. I'll give you a bit of a preview of what they look like, okay? So let's look at the preview. So as you can see, it's simple, and that's how I like to keep things. A lot of people who've downloaded this book have really appreciated it so much. They've thanked me a lot, and I like it. I like reading it myself because it just gives me that bit of, I just feel free. I just feel relaxed because it's so easy to understand. I would encourage you to actually download this. It's totally free. It's in the link in the description. Okay, or you can just write to me. In case I miss your emails, please forgive me because I receive a lot of emails. So this is actually one of my favorite books, and it's coming out number five. Okay, so now let's go to the number four book that I would recommend to you for your reading. Okay, so my number four book is actually Introductory Statistics. Okay, so now I have to mention this is a very good book for those of you who've done statistics at university degree level. I can tell you, and you agree with me, this is a very good book. The thing is that most of the work that we do as M&D professionals, we are dealing with numbers. And because of that, it's really important that we know exactly how to analyze our data. So I do read this book quite often, and actually in the coaching program, this is among the books we use to help the students become skilled when it comes to analysis of data and also reporting of data. So you can go on the internet. This book, it can be easily downloaded. It's called Introductory Statistics by Prem S. Men. So you can actually get this book. It's totally free, and just read through it, appreciate it, and become the statistician that you were always meant to be. Okay, so let's go to number three, Data Quality Audit Tool. Okay, this is a very, very powerful book. Okay, and I just need to show you a preview of this because it's an amazing book. I have to say that this book was, although it's not shown there, but I believe it was done by the USAID, and it was tailor made for a specific project, I think, if my mind serves me correctly. But the beauty about this is when you read it, you can actually see how you can use it in your own organizations, okay? And this is one book I just need to recommend to all of you out there. If you haven't done so, get your, I don't know whether you're using a tablet, if you're using a mobile device or a laptop, type the word data quality audit 2 on the internet. This is going to come up. It's a PDF file. It's a very good book. And it's one of the books I think I'm also going to use in some of my videos to teach you guys how to do these audits. But for many of my students, they really appreciate how I am able to articulate the issues of data quality audits because I'm actually getting some of the information from this wonderful book. So please, if you haven't done so, just go to the internet right now, download this book. Now, coming, okay, now this is number 2. All right. So now let me tell you a story. When I just began my journey in monitoring and evaluation, the first book I ever read was the Handbook on Planning, Monitoring and Evaluating for Development Results. This is published by the United Nations. It should have been number 1 on my list, but I'll tell you why it's not number 1. And it's simply because it doesn't really talk about the system. But you see, this is a wonderful book because it gives you detailed technical know-how on how you should actually carry out monitoring and evaluation in the organization. I remember I actually printed this book using paper, bond paper. I printed from back to back because it's quite a big book actually. And I tried my best to read every single page because there's just so much rich content. And the people that developed this, they may not know the impact it has had on my personal career, but I'm telling them today that this book is a powerful book and it was actually published many years ago. I remember it should be over 10 years old. So, guys, if you want to become gurus, I would recommend you actually get this book. You just type Handbook on Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation for Development Results UN, and this book is going to come on the internet. And the other thing is that the United Nations, this is not the only book they have on M&E. There are quite a number, but I like this book because it's actually the one which kickstarted my career path in M&E. So I really think you should download it. I won't even leave the link in the description because this book is just on the internet and you cannot miss it. I'm pretty confident that many of you have seen this book before, but you probably haven't read it because you are discouraged of the number of pages that are there. But I can tell you, if you read everything, you'll become a guru. Although the United Nations themselves, in the book, they tell the reader that this book is not meant for you to read page by page. You don't. It's just for you, just to help you operationalize certain components that you find you are lacking. Okay, but I would recommend that you read page by page because this is a powerful book. So I guess you're asking yourself, what is the best book that Coach Alexander has ever read to do with monitoring and evaluation? Okay. The best book I've ever read is the 10 Steps to Results-Based Monitoring and Evaluation System. This was done by the World Bank. All right. This is a very powerful book. Now, I have to mention one thing, and this may come as a disclaimer. The book, the way it was written, it was tailor-made for the countries at national level per se. It is not something that, I mean, when you read through it, you might feel detached because it's not really speaking to your own organization setting. But I'll tell you one thing, and that's why, if you really want to be good at monitoring and evaluation, you need to do a lot of reading, you need to be open minded, and then you need to tie the dots. So, whatever is being brought in this book, whether it's tailor made for the national level structures in a country, I can tell you today that that can be replicated even inside an organization. And that is why I don't know if I'm not sure whether I've talked about this on my YouTube channel, but I want to reaffirm the importance of a monitoring and evaluation system. Okay. And people have a lot of different views of what an M&D system is. But I have to tell you today, guys, that those views are usually disjointed because an M&D system is really the totality of M&D. People tend to think of an M&D system as being a computerized entity, but it is not only that. And it's not just that really. It's bigger than that. You have to talk about the funding. You have to talk about culture, personnel, skills, manpower, all those things, policies, tools, guidelines, all of those things make up a system. So that is why this book, I connect with it so well because it really talks about those things. It talks about conducting a monitoring and evaluation readiness assessment. And I'm not sure whether I've talked about this in this YouTube channel, but if I haven't, I'll try to counter check. But if I haven't, I'm going to create one video talking about the M&E readiness assessment, which is critical for your success. Okay, so these were the books. I sure hope you're going to download these books because they're quite important actually. And just with these 5 books, you'll be home and dry. You can become the expert that you want to be wherever and whenever. All right, so I've been your host, Coach Alexander. I really enjoyed myself. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.